So, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to do something a little bit different today because this is a bit of a slower game. I thought I would go ahead and do something that I wanted to do for a while, but I've been always just afraid to do it. So, I'm going to go ahead and do it. So, for a while now, I've been a really big fan of crime podcasts, and I thought, why don't I try it? And I've been trying to find a thing to talk about. And it occurred to me today that why don't I go ahead and talk about cold cases? Because there's a lot of things going around right now, such as the Golden State Killer. So, if you all didn't know, the Golden State Killer was recently incarcerated. And it was due to new advances that enabled them to do that.
We are pleased to welcome
And so I thought maybe I could also provide some help using technology in this way to maybe solve some cold cases. So, I'm gonna go ahead and just sit here and wait for the money to roll in, and I'm gonna tell you all the story of a woman named Eleanor Nichols. On March 9th, 2008, the Sacramento Metro Fire responded to Archer Avenue in Fair Oaks, California. And it was regarding a structure fire. When the fire personnel arrived, they spoke with an elderly man who told them that he returned home from work and found his home on fire. The man told the firefighters he tried to rescue his wife, who he thought was still inside, and was overcome by the smoke, so he couldn't finish what he wanted to do. And the firefighters entered the facility to put out the fire. And when they were in there, they discovered an elderly woman deceased in the hallway of the residence. And that victim was identified as 73-year-old Eleanor Nichols. The fire department arson investigators found that the fire was suspicious and requested the Sacramento Sheriff's Office homicide team to investigate the incident. And according to the coroner, Eleanor Nichols had been shot prior to the fire being started. And sadly, they haven't had any leads. And so the family is very, very, very hopeful that somebody has some sort of a tip along with the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office. And I am getting this stuff all from a website, so that's why I'm kind of reading. So if you do have any information about possible anything that you know, please contact the Sacramento Sheriff's Homicide Bureau, and I'll put the link down in the description below. So, something that I did in high school. So we had we had a paper for our senior year English class, and you had to basically go through anything that you wanted to go about. And for me, I wanted to be an FBI agent when I was that age. So my paper was all about unsolved murders, serial killers, and yeah, it was kind of weird back then. Not saying anyone else who's interested in those things, not saying you're weird, but I was weird. And let's just say my research made me go, yep, I am no longer doing this, because it was terrible. The research that I did, it was terrible. And sometimes I still have nightmares from it. So, please don't go doing your own research about those things. Just please don't. And so what I did there is something that I'll do now. So maybe, so kind of doing like a victimology or my own detective work, thinking about how I would go about just having that information. So maybe it was the landowner. Like the website doesn't really have a lot of information as to whom they've already um investigated or anything like that. So if anyone from the Sacramento Sheriff's Homicide Bureau happens to find this video, um you don't have to share anything with me. You can just take what I have, and if there's something you didn't think of, like please go ahead and use it. So when I think of this, I think about maybe they had a fortune and they wrote someone off their will, and so they were like, so whomever murdered them was like, hey, how dare you not put me on your will? Um, maybe this was a burglary. Maybe someone from their residence, like this was an apartment building. Let me see if this was. Kind of sounds like it was an apartment building. So this was an apartment building. Maybe their neighbor was really like, oh my God, they have a lot of money, and thus did the deed. Or maybe, like I was saying, maybe they have a family member who was not put in the will. Maybe they do have someone, maybe the perpetrator was someone who was on the will, and they wanted to have the fortune right then and there. Like there's plenty of possibilities, and I'm sure the Sacramento Sheriff's Office has steadily, not steadily, has really gone through every idea they could think of. But but to but to make the fire and then but to murder her and then set the place on fire kind of suggests that they were trying to cover up a murder. So I hate to say it, but the husband possibly is someone that could have committed the deed. Oh, let's get a search source. Um, it's there's really a lot of realms of possibilities, but those are my thoughts. Like someone close to her obviously was to me the one that did it because they tried to cover it up, and that's suspicious to me. So that's the story for today. So